everyone to the inaugural show of Talking My Team with LG and the Mayor. LG here, internationally hated Cowboys fan. Been one for a long time. Don't plan on changing. The team should change. But, Mayor, what's going on over there?
Yeah, this your boy Big Ace 5K, Big Dan, aka whatever you want to call me, aka the mayor, dubbed in by my Nets peoples from Jersey. Shout outs to my boys AP, Mike, Jacob, KB, Big Russ, all my HHDG Nets. Yep, and shout outs to my other South Jersey people who aren't Eagles fans like myself. That's right, Philly represent. Even though I'm a Staten Island born and bred kid. Thanks to Randall Cunningham and Reggie White for my loyal membership to the team. Even though unfortunately they have yet to please me or surprise me. It definitely surprised me with a Super Bowl ring or two, but I can live. I'm a Knicks fan too, so I can live with no rings in my lifetime. But yep, we're here to bring you our first initial installment of this NFL podcast. We plan on bringing to you at least once a week, hopefully, maybe once every 2 weeks until the season starts. This series now, we're going to get into the NFC East. We're going to possibly get into the rest of the state of the league and break down division by division. The teams, who do we think are going to come out of the teams? Who should we see in the playoffs? No Super Bowl predictions just yet. What you got, LG?
I think we should start in all the way out down south. Jerry's house, 100,000 strong. Start with the Dallas Cowboys. It was just poor and awful. There's only really two words to describe them. We've been 8-8, the third year in a row. Mediocrity clearly is what Jerry likes. Uh, Fired Jimmy Johnson, Barry Switzer left. We haven't seen a title since then. Because we had real coaches. Now we have Jason Garrett, who was a backup quarterback. How much could he know about winning playing behind Troy Aikman his entire career?
Well, it's not a matter of just knowing winning. You got to understand the quarterback position. They got to know every part of the game. They got to know every little aspect of the game that should make them a great quarterback. I.e., just like Jason Kidd turned out to actually be a very good quarterback in the NBA. Quarterback. Whoa, what the hell am I talking about? Good. He was the quarterback of the basketball court as far as being a point guard his whole career. And look at what he turned out with the Brooklyn Nets, which they don't really count, but it should transition, but unfortunately with the Cowgirls, that shit will never transition.
It's a rough transition because if we're talking about Jason Kidd was an all-star his whole career. He was a prized possession in college. Jason Garrett has just been Jason Garrett his whole life. He's basically just plain Jason Garrett. Like that should be his middle name, Jason Plain Garrett. Literally, he's a backup to one of the Hall of Fame quarterbacks of the world. He's definitely no Steve Young. He's not gonna come behind Troy and just do a bang up job. Troy had a lot of weapons. Jason Garrett had the same weapons for just a brief short time, but he couldn't make anything happen as far as him as a head coach. I'd
Not
like to
just
bring up
not
Nate
enough.
Smith.
Just not enough. But again, yeah, one thing you just pointed out was, or you said, you had real coaching. Where you guys fell off was right when Jerry Jones left. Jimmy Johnson left. Not Jerry Jones is never going anywhere, but when Jimmy Johnson left. Jimmy Johnson was that coach that said, "Excuse me, owner, I need your ass to step to the side. I got this. You want a successful team? Push your ass to the side and let me handle this." And every little move he made here and there got you guys two of the three that y'all won in my lifetime, unfortunately. But it's because somebody needed to put the foot in the ass of the owner and say, "Hey, you want me? This is how it's got to go down." You could say bringing it back to basketball, just like Phil Jackson. Even though Phil Jackson walks into pre-made situations, but he also is like, "Let me handle this on the court. You guys do what you do in the office and stay away, and I got this." And that generally is what makes a successful head coach in this league. Is somebody who can, take care of their job, do their job without interference from the higher ups. The only involvement that the higher up should have, in my opinion, is just okay. You need this man. You need this man. You need this player. Okay, how much? You guys do the numbers. Let me get what's on the field. Unfortunately, Jerry wants to be owner, head coach, GM, you know, kicking coach if he wants to be offensive line coach.
He might get a helmet and play.
Yeah, his old ass. He might get knocked to dust. He might not. He looks like the type of guy who might be able to take a shot or two, but unfortunately, he's the guy that you need him to step to the side and for them to succeed. That's the only way.
That's the only way, but I mean, if that's the only way, we're basically just making excuses. I mean, it's Jerry Jones' team, it's his money, but he needs to really separate, you know, the wallet from the brain. I mean, he knows football as a fan, as an owner. He doesn't know football as a coach or as a player. He doesn't really know what it takes to make up a terrific squad. I mean, if he really knew, he wouldn't have let go of DeMarcus Ware. I mean, money or not.
Oh no, well, it comes to a point where health is a concern, and even the Colts let go of Peyton Manning.
True, but this is after 3 neck surgeries. I mean, DeMarcus Ware played 12 games last year.
And check back in his records and how many seasons has he been injured for a good majority of the season?
Oh, pretty much all of them. I mean, I don't think he's played 16 games yet in a season.
Exactly.
But
just like Vic.
One of the better defensive ends we've had in a while, at least in the Cowboys world. I mean, to just let him go of a couple $1 million. I mean, his contract was pretty much alright because they asked him to take a pay cut. Of course, I mean, any NFL player who's smart enough knows that I'm not taking a pay cut. I mean, it's not like they were like the Broncos where they were one step away from winning it all. I mean, we didn't even make the playoffs. So off of one, we were one Kyle Orton interception away from almost winning. I mean, if Tony was healthy, I mean, who knows? Maybe he might have made the same mistake. But I mean, Kyle Orton got the Romo disease right at the end of the game. Everything's on the line. He throws a nice little screen. He knows a nice little cross route to a defender. I mean, that has Tony Romo written all over it. But I mean, hopefully we gotta regroup, man. I mean, we can't keep blaming everything on Jerry Jones. Eventually, the talent has to come together and just really recognize that it's time to win. I mean, the Cowboys fans I think have been waiting long enough. I mean, we got 5 in our existence in the whole NFL. I mean, it's not enough to call it a dynasty, but I mean, it's looking pretty good if we could just maybe get one in the 2000s.
And looking at this last game of the season that we won 24-22, we thank y'all for sucking. And that's from the bottom of my heart. Because if there's not one thing that, besides the freaking Red Sox, which I absolutely hate, I unfortunately hate the Dallas Cowgirls just as much as the freaking Boston Red Sox.
Yeehaw.
But again, if unfortunately the Boston Red Sox can win a World Series, then the Dallas Cowgirls could have a shot. But unfortunately, not in this recent time. Because, like I said, once again, we got the NFC East leading Philadelphia Eagles, who, once again, we had...
you guys had a pretty good season. I mean, you earned a new quarterback and Nick Foles. I mean, nobody really knew who Nick Foles was. They know him and Drew Brees went to the same high school. It's really all anyone said about him. So he came up there and showed a cannon and started throwing the Riley, what you talking about, Cooper.
Riley, what you nigga, nigga, what you said, nigga, what you heard, Riley Cooper. Yeah, we're not going to get into that just yet. But again, we finished the season with an 11-win season. And again, trumping the Dallas Cowgirls to make it into the playoffs, which was very, very pleasing. It's always pleasing as far as NFC East is concerned. And me and all my friends with this unfortunate guy that's sitting across from me that it happens to be a Cowgirls fan. Vagina fans, I really didn't want to mention you guys, but yeah, we'll have to mention the Vaginas for this second because once again, you guys finished not too pleasantly in this division. Deadskins dead last. Sorry for you. But back to my Eagles. Yeah, we just made some very questionable moves this offseason. After an 11-win season, making the playoffs, we let go of our best receiver, which is still mind-boggling and mystifies the fuck out of me. But Yeah, I guess you know what. I guess it's business is business. But I'm gonna step back into that in a second. We got Nick Foley and Dynamite again as our quarterback, who stepped up. Who stepped up? He impressed me. I had some doubts in this season coming through, like, oh no, here we go. Shout outs to my man William, who was like, you guys got something. Just keep hope in this kid. You guys got something, and he's impressed me. Shady McCoy, best running back in the league this year. Great all around talent, backfield. One of the best things that we've had since Brian Westbrook. Brian Westbrook was that all around guy who can hit the hole. Once he hit the outside, he was gone. Shady McCoy, same thing. He got a little dance, Barry Sanders like dance, but never nobody's touching the greatest of all time in Barry Sanders. But he had a little Barry Sanders like shaking little moves in him here and there. He can, as soon as he hits that open field, it's ghost. You couldn't catch him. And then again, Pat catching passes out the backfield. The kid's got great hands when he's watching the ball into his hands. We decided to get rid of Deshaun Jackson, but we keep my nigga Riley Cooper. My man at a Chet Kenny of all things at a country western music freaking concert. You gonna scream out nigga. And I'm surprised the rest of the audience didn't join in with you at a damn country music, country music show. Like, what's that about? Like,
the video looked all chopped up. It looked like he was at like a Klan rally almost. I mean, I didn't see one brown face.
nah, we're not gonna go that far because you know what, Riley, I thank you for being a part of the team. You actually are a damn good wide receiver. That the nigga moment, it slips up, it happens. We're both black dudes. We've had white friends that, you know, use that word sparingly because they know better, because they know not to catch a right hook or a right uppercut from this 390-pound dude who's actually full of muscle and some fat. But they know better. Riley Cooper is an NFL dude who should have known better. But again, like the men in the locker room said, you know what? Explain to us what happened. He talked it out. They talked it in the locker room where it was supposed to be done. Hashed things out. Now, questions could be said that he should have possibly been fined by the league, player conduct policies and this and that. And you know what? Whatever happened, happened. He paid his debt if there was a debt to be paid, and it's done. Okay. What happened? What else did we do? We got rid of Jason Avant too, who was short hands for us. Very good, short possession receiver. I I don't know what I mean, Chip. I'm loving what you're doing right now, Chip. But once again, like, what the fuck is really going on? Like, I gotta go back to you got rid of the fastest wide receiver in the league. 1,300 yards receiving last year. I believe it was 8 touchdowns, another Pro Bowl, and you say goodbye.
It's hard to fill a 1,300-yard hole.
Damn near impossible.
I mean, you got Brent Selleck, you got Zach Ertz. You let go of Avant. Avant had a ACL tear. Who knows how he's going to come back? If he's going to come back with a vengeance, or if he's just going to come back and be less than stellar. I mean, not everybody's Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson is definitely a robot. Nobody repairs from the ACL.
Absolutely, he defied odds, all types of odds with that one. But shout outs to AP all day. But yeah, man. They left me in a state of confusion. They literally, like, the Eagles left me in a state of confusion. But again, we're gonna go into the NFC East and place where we think our team's gonna land. And once again, unfortunately for y'all, I do believe we're going to top the NFC East once again. Cowgirls, I solid second or third this year. I see more third because there has been no recent movement in this off season. Maybe the draft might come up a little positive for you guys, but positive is not good for me. Negative is always great for us Eagles fans.
Yes, and that's what the She-Goes love. Hate, hate, hate. Now, the Cowboys did some brief free agency moves. I mean, the best thing they probably did was get rid of Miles, ouch, my hamstring, Austin, because
Absolutely.
he was really just slowing down. I mean, he was really just taking up space out there. I mean, Cole Beasley caught more passes than Miles Austin this year. Cole Beasley.
Who?
Exactly. Now, as far as a couple additions, I mean, we took Henry Melton. We got him from, he's a defensive end from Chicago. A little injury bug, but Henry Melton will definitely improve the defensive end. Being on the opposite side of who knows. I mean, that's kind of the whole thing I've seen. I mean, I've seen about 20 mock drafts in the NFL this year. I mean, from the announcers, radio personalities, they had 13 different picks for the Cowboys to take in the first round. That's awful. That means that there's too many holes to fill that you can't even solidify one pick to choose from. And then the head scratcher is Brandon Wheaton. Yes, Kyle Orton did say he was going to retire, but he's still on the active roster. Brandon Wheaton, I mean, he was a solid kid in college, but I mean, he never really developed in the NFL, and that's one of the problems with the NFL. They bring a lot of young players up, and they think that the quarterback.
He's not young.
He's younger. He's
Well,
young. He's young-y. He's in his 20s still.
No, Brandon. Well, no, Brandon Wheaton. I think he might be 30, 31 now. When he got into the league, I believe actually when he was in college, he was about 28, 29 years old because he had that stint with the Yankees.
Right.
He first did the Major League Baseball thing, then came into the then went back to college. Went to what was it? Oklahoma State, correct? Yeah, because he had Desiree Bryant with him, and I'm gonna call him Desiree only because he's a cowgirl, even though he's a very outstanding wide receiver who damn near catches anything thrown to him. But back to that, that bum ass backup, because I could call him a bum ass backup for your team because he's a cowgirl. Brandon Whedon, he couldn't pan out for the Browns, but who was going to show good for the Browns,
Exactly. I mean, it's a difficult task. I mean, just to be a Browns quarterback at that time. But I mean, we picked up Terrell McClain, Jeremy Mincey. There's no real big names that jump out at you. I mean, the Cowboys didn't have a lot of cap space money, but they could have definitely allocated dollars better than just these couple people. I mean, one of the bright spots maybe is new defensive coordinator Rob Marinelli from the Chicago Bears. That guy is almost like Dick LeBeau. Like, he really knows his defense. He knows his X's and O's. And he got the best out of Henry Melton in Chicago, so hopefully they can bring that party down south to Jerry's house. If not, it's going to be a long season. I don't really see us winning a division. I mean, unless Tony Romo gets over the hump. Even though Tony Romo threw his least amount of interceptions last year. He only threw 10 interceptions. He threw 31 touchdowns for 3,828 yards, which is not a bad season for Anthony Romo. I mean, he got injured. He played through the injury. I mean, that battle he had against Peyton Manning was probably the best game I think I've personally ever seen him play, including his college career.
Woohoo. But guess what? Anybody can have a battle with anybody. Didn't Tim Tebow have a quote-unquote battle with Tom Brady throwing over for over like 320-something yards? But yeah, let's see how much that counts now.
Yes, the sun does shine on the dog's ass once a day. So yes, I agree. Tony Romo does have his moments. But, I mean, he's clearly our quarterback for the long haul. If we gave this guy a 6-year deal for $100 million, I mean, is he worth it? I mean, I don't know if I would, but, I mean, a guy like Tony Romo, some days you don't want to play against him. So, I mean, Jerry really didn't see another option out there, especially since we're not trading up from our pick to number one. I mean, we don't have enough really anything to give anyone. I mean, right now we're just pretty much just almost in a rebuilding phase. I mean, we got a lot of players that are just at the end. I mean, Jason Witten's getting old. I mean, this young kid, the tight end Gavin Escobar, last year this kid had 9 catches for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. If we run some type of offense like the Patriots, the kid's built like Aaron Hernandez, has hands like Aaron Hernandez, but he doesn't
shoot like Aaron Hernandez.
He doesn't murder like Aaron Hernandez. That's more important. He's a clean-cut kid from Santa Monica.
So we know with the last name Escobar. If I wasn't, I wouldn't be. Nah, I ain't even gonna quote Nas. Shout out to Nas. And that dope performance that happened at Coachella, bringing out Jay-Z.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that was insane. But yeah. So again, you don't sound too sure about your Cowgirls. Even taking a division. I mean, as a fan, you're supposed to say, "Yeah, hell yeah, you know, we got rings because we got rings, yo. That means we're gonna take over the division." But you're not one of those fans, fortunately. You're
No,
thinking with your head.
I am a realist. I mean, I recognize that my team is embracing the struggle right now. Like they're just like Jerry still walks around smiling. I mean, they have pictures of him at the owners conference. He's just all just shits and giggles. I
Him
mean,
and Romo holding hands at Duke games and stuff. You
I
know,
mean, if my team was 8-8 3 years in a row, the first place I'd be looking is the offensive coordinator, the coach, and a little bit of the players. I mean, there are some questionable things that even our best player, Des Bryant, has done, like just leaving the field and like not shaking hands. I mean, as a person, you got to check those things. But I mean, he gave Des like a curfew, like the time to be in the house.
can't win with him. Can't coach him. Can't do it.
I mean, but letting him go. I mean, he's got 93 catches, 1,233 yards, and 13 TDs. I mean, the kid's almost got built-in stick-em in his hands.
Yeah, that would be just as dumb as my Eagles letting go of Deshaun if the Cowgirls let go of him. But I would rather see him over here with us than with you guys. A receiver like that is dangerous at all times, and I mean, unfortunately, I got to give props due. But when you got a baller like him, you gotta. Unfortunately, you have to give props, whether it's unfortunate or fortunate. Whether you hate the team, you don't hate the team, you gotta give props. Everybody used to say, "Oh, you gotta give Jordan props." Yo, I didn't give Jordan props until I went to Chicago and read that man's accomplishments on the statue. Then I finally said, "All right, you got this, MJ." But you know, like I said, because that's the hater in me because I'm that hardcore of a Knicks fan. But that's how hardcore of a Cowgirls hater I am too. But I can give props when props is due because like that kid, what's his name? Sean Lee is the linebacker's name.
Sean Lee,
That kid can be insane if he stays healthy. He's going down the same track that DeMarcus Ware is going down. DeMarcus Ware, another guy. Love that guy's game. Hate the fact that he was doing it with that star on his helmet. Absolutely hated it. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. I loved when you guys had Marion Barber, the barbarian. That kid ran like an animal. Absolutely hated it when he had that damn star on his head. It's just that star. There's just something about that star. And it's in blue, which is funny. 5-point star blue. Anybody who understands gang references, then you'll understand. It's a little bit of an oxymoron. But anyway, yeah, it's that damn star. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate the fact that Emmitt Smith got the Russian title. Who, if Barry Sanders never made that phone call that got mixed up allegedly, according to rumors, I'm not gonna say sources because we're not that other station that says sources say with no backup. I'm gonna say rumors said that Barry Sanders called the coach and said, "Oh, I'm tired," and he said, "What? You retired?" And then that's the myth behind that.
Right.
But if Barry never retired, Emmitt Smith would have never seen that record. Shout outs to the U, Michael Irvin. Unfortunately, I love the U, but I hate you only because you're a Dallas Cowgirl. But I love you, dude, because you actually are one of the greats. I give props when props is due. Hands down, you're definitely one of the greats. You deserved your your Hall of Fame induction. Your speech was great. Unfortunately, the Cowgirls. I hate to say it, but they've had great teams. Turf Toe Sanders, Turf Toe Sanders. That's it. My man, he's throwing up gang signs in his shoes with his toes. I mean, Eddie Murphy couldn't even look at them things straight. Talking about hammer time.
Oh yeah.
Boomerang reference.
Deion Sanders' feet was pretty messed up, probably from doing a lot of skip hopping and jumping on dudes. Like, excuse me, you don't catch anything on my side of the field.
That's right. Must be the money.
That's right. Prime time.
Probably.
I might go back. I might get a Jerry curl and some Versace glasses just because Deion Sanders.
He definitely messed up a couple of those in that damn video, or jumping off that Mercedes-Benz golf cart.
that might have been it. But going back to middle linebacker Sean Lee, here's a sad Dallas Cowboys defensive reference. Sean Lee played 6 games last year. Do you know who had the most interceptions on the Dallas Cowboys? Oh, I'm sorry. Sean Lee, the person who played less than half the damn season.
Terrible.
Morris Claiborne. Hey, man, how you doing? With your 1 interception ass. How about you catch something? I mean, be around the ball. I mean, you don't... I mean, 1 interception as a cornerback in the NFL is almost like you didn't even play. Like,
what was the name of that defensive lineman, though, that was beasting, though? I forgot his name. I know we're going off top of the head right now, but there's a defensive lineman that was beasting on the Cowgirls. We'll come back to it and look. We'll look that name up while we keep going on the next on
Right.
this same topic.
And as far as the offense, I mean, the offense definitely. DeMarco Murray, I'm not mad at him. I mean, over 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns. I mean, 5.2 a carry behind the offensive line. The offensive line was not the problem this year. Literally, it was just some of the routes they were running were very, very questionable. I mean, Tony Romo didn't really look at any of the check downs. I mean, he found Jason Witten, but he found Jason Witten 8 times in the end zone. I mean, I can remember a couple of games where I could see Jason Witten almost run down the field open when they're running, simple fade routes. I mean, Jason Witten is a very large man. There's not too many people who can kind of, be on top of him. So
And
they
that's
run us
his
on the ball.
absolute only option. Like you said, Miles Austin can't keep half a hamstring healthy. He
No.
couldn't, and he was a guy who deserved to get cut. Hopefully, maybe he does get a job in the league somewhere else. I don't know if he did get signed or not, but that dude was injury walking like every single year. Again, and you had Desiree Bryant. That's about it. Desiree and Jason Witten. Jason Witten is an automatic, fantasy football favorite because that was Tony's main option.
Right, but even the kid showed up last year. Terrence Williams. I mean, he had 44 catches, 736 yards for 5 TDs. I mean, this is almost unknown. I mean, he came and played that wide receiver, and he actually just made some noise for a couple of weeks where he was actually a fantasy stud for about 2 3 weeks in a row. Where, I mean, Tony Romo just couldn't stop throwing the kid the ball. But I mean, you still got to get Dez involved. You don't want him upset. You got to get Jason involved. Jason's not the type of probably get upset, but you know, still got to get spread the ball around.
And the name I was looking for before was Anthony Spencer, who was beasting,
Oh,
which
Anthony
shows right
Spencer.
now that he's actually a free agent.
Yes, Anthony Spencer, Jason Hatcher, anybody else who wants to make the Pro Bowl, the Cowboys generally like, oh, you know what, I'm done with this guy.
Mm-hmm. See ya. But yeah, let's get into the rest of the division because this ain't gonna last that long, really. New York Vaginas. I don't care about what moves you made. Shout out to that guy who lives on the other side of Staten Island. Who calls himself a super fan. I'm not gonna get into that because that's personal. But yeah. So the Vaginas, third place or last place in this division this year. That's the only place I see them, either third or last. Not even gonna discuss their moves. Eli Manning, hopefully, you know, willing, hopefully whatever willing that he gets through his surgery properly, and heals up good because can't deny the kid won 2 Super Bowls, but he won the 2 Super Bowls off of miraculous plays. Nobody wants to bring that up. It took miraculous plays and super outstanding defensive play, especially from the front four who dominated both Super Bowls. you know, and shout outs to you guys because I did root for you guys. Family of Giants fans, so I gave props. You've always got props from me during any season, but unfortunately, this year and years coming, it's all downhill for you guys. Forget that trying to count 5 years in between Super Bowls. That's done for now. You got yours, so what? We don't have any, so what? You guys are done for now. I say I actually give them third place in the division only because the Deadskins, I either see them once again finishing last because they have no defense, even though D'Angelo Hall doesn't have to worry about Deshaun Jackson anymore because now he can try to work on his speed in practice trying to stay with him. But and they could either be second in the division because again I don't feel that anybody's going to top us Eagles this year, but they just might have that Deshaun might have been that one piece that might have pushed this offense over the top as long as RG3 can stay healthy because the kid's got a cannon and the kid's got legs. You put those two together with a solid running back and what's his name, Alfred Morris is his
Alfred
name.
Morris, yeah.
They can blow the top off at anybody if they choose to. But will they? That's going to be their question. Their offensive line, I know they're going to have to step up even bigger this year to give RG3 a lot of time because his legs aren't going to be able to, Those legs, they won't last forever. They won't last forever. And you've seen what happened with Vic and my team. Perfect example of legs won't last in forever. Our offensive line let us down, let me down, let him down. As soon as Nick Foles came in, it was a different story. I guess it was a wake up call, and it worked out in our favor. Redskins, I hope you're taking note because this is, you see what you guys got in front of you. You do have something special, and I definitely got to say you definitely have something special with Deshaun Jackson in your guys' locker room. You just finish the job. Finish the job. I wouldn't be mad at you guys if you did surpass us because you guys got that kind of an offense to do so. But I don't know about this year. Once again, I would say either second or last place. And it's either that last place spot is either going to flip flop with the Giants or you guys. That's how I see it. Cowgirls at worst, I think third, just because of who they are. And their quarterback is definitely solid. Like, I would love Tony Romo if he was absolutely on another team. But he rocks that star. He reps that star. Regina fans, we're not going to we're not going to talk about y'all for long again because I hate you. I hate your guts. And that's about it right now. I don't know what you see, LG.
The Giants, I really don't see them. They did a couple of transactions over the offseason that looked pretty good, but as far as them making a lot of noise, they didn't make enough changes, I don't think, to really do anything definitive. Unless, a lot of the league just has to break down for them in the final eight or nine games for them to make it even a solid push to even be anywhere, probably third. As far as the Redskins, I think the Redskins actually got something special, man. They got if RG3 can stay healthy and stop getting the Michael Vick disease, he'd be all right. He needs to really just rely on the pocket a little bit. I mean, when you see him throw, he never climbs the pocket. I mean, he really is running towards uh, the pass rush, and he thinks he's that fast that he can evade everything, but he can't. I mean, Vic is
No.
the primary example of that. I mean, Vic thought he was Iron Man until those ribs broke on him, and then Nick Foles, and the rest is history, really.
Yep. But well, back to Vic. He was injury prone his whole career. That's just how that is. He was I think he only completed one full 16-game season. I think one.
That might be his rookie year.
No, I think it was with us with Philadelphia. I
Maybe.
think that was the only 16-game season he ever played. But again, I definitely thank him for his time with the team. I thank Andy Reid for sure for giving him a shot. I thank Donovan McNabb, who was to me best Eagles player within these last 15 years by far. My man took us to I think it was 4 or 5 NFC Championship games, and we went to the one Super Bowl, which he couldn't get over the hump. But somebody did have to get To the ball for To to get those 123 yards receiving. Who again, shout outs to To because he took that L for the season, but busted his ass to get back, and busted his ass, and then came back for that Super Bowl because he knew we were gonna win it, and showed his ass off. But we couldn't finish the job, and then we end up losing by a damn field goal to the damn Patriots. Which there's so many other memories I could drop on y'all about that, because like silly things like renting a car to go, because I just knew we were going to we was gonna have the parade in South Philly, and I was gonna be there, but yeah, I ended up just having a car rented for the weekend because damn Adam Vinatieri done broke my heart just like he broke everybody else's heart, and you know, and oh well, good memories, bad memories. I fly till I die, and that's how it goes.
Oh yeah, and as far as the rest of the NFC East, I mean, if the Redskins can get in a lot of sessions between RG3 and Deshaun Jackson, I mean, they just inherited 1,300 yards for almost nothing. Like, I mean, the
And
Eagles.
could go for even more.
Absolutely. I mean, Deshaun Jackson is a weapon. I mean, teams have to spread the ball. I mean, there's not going to be a lot of one-on-ones against Deshaun Jackson. I mean, I don't think there's any corner in the league who really is as fast as he is. I mean, just dead speed. I mean, off the line. As far as his production, I mean, 1,300 yards. I mean, that could just be the tip of the iceberg for where this kid can go with RG3. I mean, RG3 has a cannon on him. He just has to learn how to climb the pocket and just use his gifts. I mean, as far as him running the ball, um, with a new coach, they're gonna have to use Alpha Morris a little bit more. RG3 can't be responsible for the bulk of the rushing on the team because that puts him as a liability, and that just gives more push to Kirk Cousins. I mean, it's even if he's still around. I mean, right now he might be looking for a new contract for all we know at this point. But
And remember, they got drafted in the same draft.
same draft
That
together.
which was a puzzling move by the Shanahan's. But hey, you know what? It doesn't hurt to have two starting caliber quarterbacks, in my opinion. Especially when Kirk Cousins showed that he could do the job when he did get in when RG3 was out. But yeah, in my opinion, it never hurts to have two starting caliber of anything because you never know at any time anything can go. And in a league like the NFL, like you said, anything can happen. Anybody can get injured, anybody can get cut, anybody can get released for any little thing. Dudes can
Even rumors.
exactly rumors can swirl that can cause a guy to have nothing. In the day after, just a rumor mill starts spinning. Anything can happen, and hopefully a guy like Cousins, you know what, that might be perfect trade bait for teams who need a quarterback that they can manipulate this year's draft, getting good draft picks, second, third round picks, because they say that this is supposedly one of the deepest drafts in the past few years.
Oh yeah.
But when you hear most of these quote unquote experts talk nowadays, these guys who they were saying were at least surefire top fives. All of them sound questionable now. I don't know. I don't understand. Like Jadeveon Clowney, everybody's saying, like, again, NJ.com is coming out with a report saying that this guy is a diva, selfish. Like what's up with the slandering from this website? Why now? Like why now? Same thing with Deshaun Jackson. Why now is this stuff coming out? You know, uh, Johnny Manziel, kid came for money. All of a sudden, he's a problem because he's doing as he's always done. The kid's been a star since high school in Texas. The kid's living his life, but because he's potentially going to get into the NFL, it's a problem that the kid goes out and chills with LeBron James. Oh, takes pictures with people. Everybody takes pictures with people. You know, the kid. He got caught underage drinking. That's something most of America has done. And if you're up at the top and now you're criticizing because you're in the position to criticize, well, unfortunately, I think shame on you because it's something that's little small mistakes that everybody makes. Teddy Bridgewater now. Teddy Bridgewater, they're claiming this kid's hands are too small. Meanwhile, this kid was lighting up everybody in college, but his hands are too small. Blake Bortles, this kid just came out of nowhere. But his name is up because he's the stereotypical NFL prototype body, size, weight, height, you know. But perfect example to break that myth is Tom Brady. He's got the height. He's grew into what he is now. Nobody knew who he was. He was Mr. Irrelevant. Last pick in the draft, I believe at that time he was 199. His draft pick was. But anyway, nobody could call that. Bill Belichick just said, you know what, let's take that chance on this guy. He knew something. He knew he had something. You can't always go by NFL prototypes. Doug Flutie, he's prototype nothing. According to quarterback standards, somebody like Maurice Jones-Drew, he's a little nothing. But he turned out to be a little bowling ball of a running back, which is something that everybody will like. Darren Sproles, who my team just picked up, he was a little nothing in college. He's a little guy still in the league, but when you have the proper skill set, and again going back to these draft picks, now they're saying that these kids, those names that I mentioned, they're claiming that these kids have these skill sets, but they're looking at little intangibles that don't really have no effect on the game itself, other than I can understand the small hands thing that can happen. And, that it's there, but they dang it, if I forgot the names of quarterbacks who they said in NFL history who's had small hands, but they were pretty successful, and I believe some of them were,
They're also Hall of
Hall of
Famers.
Famers. But I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to have a solid career if he gets in. All these kids, I personally think they're going to have to come in as backups, back up, learn the game, learn a year or two, which is something that doesn't happen much anymore because they feel, oh, we spent a high draft pick on you, so now you have to play now. But then when it comes to you have to play now, then it turns into, oh, well, you're playing now. How come you're not doing this? Then it goes, oh, well, this guy needed a little more seasoning. He needed to be groomed a little bit more. But you just rushed this guy out here. Why? Oh, well, you think because he's the number one pick, he's supposed to be. That's not always the case. I do hope that is true with Jadeveon Clowney though, because that kid, he is a freak. Everybody went off that one play that he had against Michigan, which was insane.
Right.
But the kid is a freak. And if I were the Texans, I would not listen to what Johnny Manziel said. I would go right for that kid because if you have him, a healthy J.J. Watt, and if you could somehow keep a healthy Brian Cushing, and you can drop, Brian Cushing's that middle linebacker, but he could play middle, outside. You can have him play that stand-up defensive end or whatever if you wanted to. You guys would have right off the bat at least the top 5 defense back in this league again. I feel that. That's the move that I would make if I was that team GM. Quarterbacks can come. You can get a quarterback from somewhere. You can get a solid guy anywhere. Just right about now, I personally think you can get. They're saying that David Carr's brother is going to be a solid guy. You can get him late second round, third round.
Right.
There's quarterbacks in this draft. You don't have to get the top guys. That's just for flashiness and for show, and for these other programs to have something to hang their hat on as far as, oh, well, we told you this, you didn't do this, we felt you should have did that. Well, it's not your opinion. It's your opinion, but it's not your move to make. It's not my move to make either, but my opinion is you should go after that defense because defense definitely does win championships. Ask the Seahawks, ask the Giants, ask the Ravens. Defense definitely does win championships, and it can win championships for you or leave you in a proper position to get there and to get those championships. Look at the 49ers, for instance. They have a lights-out offense, but their defense is that much better than their offense. That could have got them to a Super Bowl,
Right.
But again, outstanding play from who? Richard Sherman, defensive cornerback. Once again, defense. Took over that game, one little tip of the ball, Seahawks win. Russell Wilson showed his ass off in the Super Bowl, offense won. But defense also won that game because how do you keep Peyton Manning to 8 points?
I'm still puzzled on that.
How?
That Super Bowl. It was just a mysterious game. Like, it was, from the first snap the Broncos took, it was almost over. Like, you almost feel like the wind gets sucked out of Giants Jet Stadium, whatever they want to call that in Jersey.
Metropolitan life.
And then, the offense just took over for the Seattle Seahawks, and Russell Wilson's a 6th-round pick. Who knew who this guy was before Pete Carroll was like, I want him.
Exactly. And again, that goes back to what I was mentioning before as far as prototypical NFL quarterback. Russell Wilson, I believe, is shorter than me. I think he's, 5'10", I think?
About
5'10", 5'11". I'm only 6 feet. That doesn't, again, heart, determination, willingness to make the plays, the knowledge of the game. The kid was ice cold this year. You couldn't touch him. You really couldn't touch him. Plus, this offensive line stepped up amazing. Freaking beast mode was outstanding this year. Golden Tate, very good. I don't like the school you came from. Hate Notre Dame football also. But again, you great. I can't call Sidney Rice because he can't. He's another receiver who just can't stay healthy. You know,
And Percy Harvin.
yeah, Percy Harvin, but Percy Harvin came back and showed his ass off when needed.
He got busy in the Super Bowl.
You know, he showed his ass off when it was needed and when the time was right. And that's exactly how you're supposed to win. You strike when the iron's hot. That's exactly, bringing back to, unfortunately, when the Giants won, just all you guys did was just get hot at the right time. You did not have outstanding seasons those years. I believe it was only 9-7. But those were in quotation marks because we're going to go back to some good teams. We're not going to talk about the Vaginas anymore. So, but yeah, again, Russell Wilson, perfect example of non-prototypical quarterback. You know, you can do all the measurables you want. Scout and combine, great thing to watch. As a football player myself, I do still learn a lot, watching them because they do give you little measurables here and there, but they don't tell everything. They don't tell everything. What happens on the field, watching these guys on the field against the competition that is actually a step or two better than them, a step or two faster than them, that's when you learn. That's when you'll really learn and understand, how these players are. Not just off of what you claim are prototypical measurables. I always think what shows on the field. Look at the players' game tape first before you go over the measurables. Then you make your decision. Or watch what they do on film first.
Absolutely. I mean, and then even just keeping it NFC West. I mean, the Seahawks have a damn good shot of repeating and being Super Bowl champions one more time. I mean, they didn't lose a lot of pieces this year. Um, the draft, I mean, yeah, they got the 31st pick because they are the champions, but the way that defense is designed, they're just animals out there. I mean, Russell Wilson doesn't even have a true number one wide receiver to throw the ball to, and now with Golden Tate's departure to the Lions.
Yep. It was money move. Can't knock the kid for the money move, but hey.
Absolutely. I mean, you make big plays in the Super Bowl, and it's a contract year. Go out there and get as much money as you can because, I mean, your NFL career is not going to last forever.
And he gets to play next to Megatron.
Right. I mean, right now, I think Ryan Leaf is at a car wash right now just wondering what the hell did I do to myself because he could have been something big, but, we'll leave that in the past. But as far as that NFC West, I mean,
Bust.
Seahawks are definitely going to take that division once again. I don't even see anybody else really holding a candle to them.
No. The 49ers. That's probably the lone competition I believe in, like maybe the whole NFL, is the 49ers this year. I mean, I still have high hopes for my team, but when you look at total packages, I think only the 49ers possibly gotten stronger. The Seahawks still kind of at a stalemate. They did win this year. They did win, but that 49ers team, I've hated them for years, from Montana to Steve Young. I never liked them, but I give props again. I give props where props is due because that team is built. That team is stacked. That team has they have every Patrick Willis, other than in recent years, other than Ray Lewis, that would be that middle linebacker that I would have first pick every time. Patrick Willis is an animal when healthy. I don't even need to. Aldon Smith,
who's recently
get your head, yeah, get your head together. You don't say that stupid stuff in the airports, But again, I would take two beasts like them two on the field, any day. I would take the whole Legion of Boom any day. Like that's the kind of quality you need, I would go to Baltimore and get my man. What's the linebacker's name that's left here?
T Sizzle.
Yes, I'll go get T Sizzle, Ball So Hard University all day. It's players like those. Like we mentioned in conversation the other day. We mentioned Ronnie Lott. Well, I would take a guy like him hands down because, again, you cut off a finger to continue to play the game. Besides that showing that you're nuts and you're crazy, but it shows that like you have that anything goes. Anything short of taking out your own family, but when it comes to getting that win, like you shows that anything it takes to get that win. And these guys definitely like exude that. They show that game in, game out, week in, week out. Well, maybe Alden Smith is a little sketchy here, and like he looks like the dude who might have those little attitudes here and there. But when that kid is balling, he's balling. You know,
Yeah.
Richard Sherman, like I said, we know his mouth. But like I had that same mouth when I was on the football field too. But you know what? When I played, I backed it up. When I threw that mouth out there, that my mouth got other people penalties because they were getting heated. Same thing with Richard Sherman. He might catch his flags here and there though, it's a different situation. But when that kid talks, he backs it up on the field. That's all you can ask for. If you're gonna talk that shit, talk the talk, walk the walk. And he's one of those who's done it. Like I said, T Sizzle, freaking, he talks that shit, he backs it up. Crabtree, like I said,
Crabs.
butt hurt, as we discussed the other day. His butt hurt, you know. But the kid, he was actually pretty outstanding this year, out of that Texas Tech University, who's got that crazy, crazy fan in the basketball stands, allegedly calling players niggas and this and that. But this is a football show. We're gonna leave him alone, But it it's it takes so much than just measurables. That's always one of my things. It's like it takes more than just measurables, Like for instance, we'll break into this real quick. There was a meme up I was looking at on Facebook earlier who had Bruce Smith, Reggie White, Lawrence Taylor, Ray Lewis, and I think that was it. There was another one. I think it was oh no, it was what's the was I think it was Mike Singletary. And it asked
Bears 85 defense.
And it asked, which one of those players would you take to start your team with the number 1 pick?
Mike Singletary is probably the scariest person on that list. I mean, he would literally look into the soul of a quarterback and then come and pretty much do everything besides rip the helmet off and just beat him with it. Mike Singletary is a scary man, but Lawrence Taylor just changed the face of football. Like, I mean, if you ask anybody in the street, everybody's going to be like, oh my God, you see what happened to Joe Theismann? Like, it's almost like it happened yesterday. And Lawrence Taylor didn't even mean to do it. I mean, he was one upset calling medics on the field, like, please, somebody help Joe. And then he went to the sideline, was just like, in his head, I'm sure he's probably like, yo, I'm a beast.
Yeah, but to laugh, and I'm sorry, Lawrence Taylor, I love you. I love your game, but to quote my man F7 earlier on the post, he said that Lawrence Taylor, you just give him a little 8-ball, and he was the most unstoppable player ever. Like, there was no stopping this dude at all. But no, I like the intensity, I like the choices, but in all actuality, not just because I'm an Eagles fan, but Reggie White, number 1 pick, hands down, greatest defensive lineman ever in the game. And to have somebody like him with his heart, his his physical ability, plus the ability to motivate a team the way he did, hands down, it's either him or it's Ray Lewis. Because Ray Lewis, again, he was a guy who, when younger, he wasn't LT fast, but he was just as dominating as a presence on the field. Like, when you watch that man tackle, first off, his tackling form was perfect. Secondly, when the ball's in the air, who was one of the first people there on the ball, on that running back, right in the middle of the, busting through that hole to stop running backs, popping receivers trying to dare to cross the middle on that guy. Plus, he was an excellent motivator. Now, unfortunately, I'm not a church guy, but I guess maybe that has to do with their upbringings in that helped them be master motivators. But Ray Lewis is bona fide master motivator of anything, any walk of life. Like, that's a dude that he had his little charge, that he beat, thankfully. But he is a guy that I would not ever be against having him sit down with my kids and break down just life in general.
Right.
And that's the kind of guy that you would love to have in your locker room, who can get you to pull the best out of you at any moment, at any time on the field. Reggie White did the same thing. Plus, besides the fact that this dude used to destroy double teams, he would kill offensive linemen with a move. I believe it might be banned with his club arm. All he would do is like maybe make a step, get you off that left or right foot just a little bit, and slap you right on the side of you, with that club arm, and you were tumbling on the way to another sack. On the way to another sack. I thank Brett Favre for giving him that record, even though it was that was Brett Favre and Michael Gahan. We're not gonna go there. Nah, shout outs to Mike. We rock the same gap in the teeth and all, and you two got much deserved props with getting into the Hall of Fame. But no, actually no, I will thank Brett Favre, because Brett Favre was that quarterback who helped my man Reggie White get that Super Bowl, much deserved. I thank you. I do thank you very much. But still, greatest sack ever, greatest defensive end ever, greatest sacker ever. I don't care that Bruce Smith went and got the record just because of longevity. Same thing with damn Emmitt Smith getting that rushing record because of longevity. Forget y'all. Reggie White is the man. Reggie White is the reason why I love football. Him and Randall Cunningham. So if it does sound a little personal, I'm sorry, but taking into account what those two guys have done, Reggie and Ray Lewis, and there's no question that it's kind of hard to debate. It's hard to debate between the two, which you would start a team with, but it's kind of impossible to debate picking from those two. Like those two would be the number one.
Literally, if those two are out there, literally you could just flip a coin and whoever.
Yeah, and you wouldn't go bad. You wouldn't go wrong either way. There's no way about it. Like I said, Ray Lewis. I actually said this one day. Ray Lewis and Gus Johnson. Gus Johnson, one of the most incredible sports announcers I've ever heard, and his voice is ridiculous. I said Ray Lewis and Gus Johnson have to be alive to speak at my funerals, because that's how motivating and like how the voices and their words, like they would deliver my eulogy perfect.
Exactly.
but yeah, man, those two, hands down, Now let's take it to offense though, and I'll lay out a couple for you. We're not gonna go off no memes. We're gonna go Joe Montana. Shout out to the Four Rings. Barry Sanders, again personally, greatest running back of all time. Jim Brown, greatest running back we were not alive to see. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, that makes 5. And we'll give a 6th. Let's give a 6th. I gave one running back one. And
so a 6, you might have Jerry Rice in there.
Jerry, yeah. You know what? We'll go Jerry Rice, because Jerry Rice is the greatest receiver ever. And it took me a while to give them props too. If Randy Moss was still in the league, he actually would be the best ever. Hands down. That kid, nobody can touch him on the fly. Send him on a 9, gone. Yeah. Send him up the sideline, gone. But out of those picks, who would you take number 1?
If I gotta go number 1 out of Joe Montana, Barry Sanders, Jim Brown, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Jerry Rice, I have to go Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning is pretty much the embodiment of a smart quarterback. He really doesn't make too many bad decisions. Although, he made some questionable ones in the Super Bowl, but that's
right.
one isolated event.
They've stood out in critical moments, which that unfortunately is the bad thing. It's when the critical moments.
Right, but as far as knowing football, powering an offense, moving the ball, moving the chains, and really just making receivers who are just okay better, I have to go with Peyton Manning. If you take Peyton Manning out of this era of football, I think he transcends eras. Barry Sanders is another player who transcends eras, but Barry Sanders, from that position, it's hard for him to do it alone to actually solidify a title. He didn't have an offensive line, and he made it look like he didn't, because he moved a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as Peyton Manning's got to be my guy. He's smart. He's a smart football player. He knows probably football better than anyone that has been presented to me in the last 35 years.
Anyone who's possibly even walked the earth. Like, It is damn near impossible to go against him. Now, many would twist this conversation the wrong way and say, "Oh, but this guy's got rings, that guy's got rings." We're not talking from the ring standpoint. Yes, we understand Montana, Rice, those guys have rings, but guess what? No Rice, no Montana. No Montana with no Rice. Tom Brady, Adam Vinatieri, he wouldn't have it. No Adam Vinatieri, he couldn't do it. No Bill Belichick, he wouldn't be able to do it the same also. Jim Brown, I would have loved to have been alive to have seen that guy run the ball. But, you know, everybody, it's noted, everybody says, oh, well, competition was that much inferior then.
Right.
Hey, you play who's in front of you. That's he can't help that. You play who's in front of you. Like I said before, greatest running back ever, Barry Sanders. Yeah, once again, you're not going to be a good running back if you don't have a good or decent offensive line. Semi-okay quarterback to get you the ball. Fortunately, he had that that natural born talent that helped him escape. I mean, you run for 72 yards after running backwards for 10 yards and avoiding all 11 people on the field to run 72 yards for a touchdown. Like, nobody can really do that. I mean, Shady's probably the next who can, or will do it again, do it. But again, Peyton Manning, like you said, transcends all errors. A player like that with his mind, and you see the length of his forehead, like he's got to have mastermind type brain in there to pull that off. But the kid, he coaches coaches. He coaches on the field. He made, we can argue and say he made Marvin Harrison. He made Reggie Wayne. He made Pierre Garçon. He made Donald Brown. Edgerrin James helped him out big. He helped him out big. Shout outs to the U once again. He helped him out big early, But let's see. Oh, Eric Decker. My wife loves that dude now because of this show and his country singing wife. We're not going to get into it. But anyway, he made Eric Decker. He made every single receiver on the Broncos last year. Every one of them. Tight end too, He made Dallas Clark, Jeff Saturday was his quarterback on the offensive line. He didn't make the offensive line. That offensive line was that badass that, them two was peas in a pod. You couldn't separate them. And Jeff Saturday knew just as much as he did. That's how nice. And that's another thing. Me being a center, people don't understand how tough that position is. But that's not the question at hand. The question back is Peyton Manning's greatness. Peyton Manning is the, like, if you were to say, if you honestly were to tell me that you couldn't take him number one, I would really have to question any football conversation that I would have with anybody. Now, that not saying that there isn't greatness that has been in the history of this league, but if you're starting bare bones, understanding who these people are, like I said, not counting the rings that they had in hand, and you can't look in your face to take a guy like him, I don't know. I can't call it because that dude really is like, call 3 or 4 different audibles in one play and everybody be on the same page. As soon as somebody steps out of the line, you coach them up right on the field. They turn around, run the same play again. They'll get it. They get it right because they were properly coached up on the field. They're not just being screamed at like idiots. Very, very small decision-making errors here and there. But again, they look like major ones because they all happen in critical points in time. But, hands down, greatest quarterback I think I've ever seen.
I mean, if you remove those 3 neck surgeries, I mean, who knows what happens to Peyton Manning?
Okay, yeah, and 3 neck surgeries. 3 neck surgeries. It shows to be nothing. It showed to be nothing. He got the Denver Broncos out of nowhere to the Super Bowl. And the Broncos unfortunately were removed just a season or two removed from Tim Tim Almighty Jesus Tebow.
who still has not touched a football since he's left the organization. Says a lot about him as a person. I mean, I don't know if he's not accepting any contracts, but I really don't think he's been offered one since he's left.
He was offered a contract. I believe he's isn't he with ESPN in his contract? I believe that's his contract. But yeah, his playing days, he can forget it.
Absolutely. And I mean, and as soon as this podcast is released, you guys can definitely hit us up on Twitter. We're at Talking My Team. I mean, if you want to email us questions, it's talkingmyteam@gmail.com. Our website will be coming soon, probably around the time that the season actually starts. And you'll be able to download the podcast on SoundCloud. We want to keep it just free right now. We want to keep it nice and light.
What's the name of the SoundCloud?
The SoundCloud again is Talking My Team. Everything is the name is the same everywhere. We just gotta keep it going.
Okay, and that just concludes. Again, great conversation, basic talk. This is what you're gonna get with talking my team. It's just gonna be two brothers just going at it here and there. We'll spit numbers once we come correct. We're gonna but this is the first. This is the pilot episode. This is the one that we just want you to hear. That it's just real. It's real conversation. Real talk, real everything. We're gonna have some more of our friends coming on as special guests. If we want to call them special ed, special qualified. But we're gonna have other friends on. If you want to join us, don't forget you can hit myself up at SF Ace 5 Facebook.com/SF Ace 5. You can hit up my man Lance on his Facebook page, and that is
LRG1182.
Okay, you can hit me up on the Twitter at SF_Ace5, or the Instagram is at HHKSI. That's for my hip hop karaoke Staten Island. We put on great events. So far we're doing that quarterly. Okay. Also look out for. I got to take this opportunity to do this, but look out for my Star Wars 2014 Battle of the Elements. If you're a hip hop lover, and I live and breathe football and the hip hop culture, and if you know me, you know this. But what I'm going to bring to you guys is a battle, DJ battle, MC battle, B-boy battle. We're going to have those in 3 separate events, 3 separate nights, all to culminate in one night. We're going to have the B-boy final, DJ Final 4, and Rap Battle Final 4, all to take place at location undisclosed as of right now as far as the finale. But the two of the 3 cards are all going to be at the Full Cup at 388 Van Duzer Street. Shout out to my man Bobby, one of the owners. I thank him again for opening the doors for us to have hip hop karaoke, and once again allowing us to bring Star Wars into this. Star Wars is going to be big for hip hop, for New York in general. This is going to be a New York only battle. I'm going to bring it to other states later, other years, but right now, because New York, we're slacking. Other than some of the new heads coming up. Shout outs to Action Bronson, Joey Badass, and the whole pro era. I love y'all. Boot Camp, still to the grain. I love y'all. Wu-Tang. We on Staten Island. This is Wu-Tang City. Shout outs also to my man at the end. I'm sorry, I'm running on, but shout out to my man Leroy from Brooklyn, who also is getting the Wu-Tang Clan District street sign put up in Park Hill. Look out for that.
Right. Also, we really just appreciate you guys listening to the show, man. I mean, we want your feedback. I mean, this is just the idea we've been running with for a long time. It just took a little while to get this thing together. We think podcast is the right forum because pretty much listen at your leisure. You just listen to us talk shit about the world-renowned, internationally famous 5-ring holder Cowboys and the NFC East champion all the time.
Perennials.
Sheagles, because they get busy. They get to that NFC East championship, man. But they might get over the hump this year. But Cowboys, I still love you. I'm still representing that sheriff badge all day. And thanks for joining us for Talking My Team. I'm LG.
This is the mayor, and again, we're signing out once again. Hopefully you enjoy this, and we will see you on round 2 of Talking My Team. Round 2, Talking My Team next.
Yep, later.